welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you've never been here before. Hey! So in today's video we will be covering the case of Taleah Lowe. There isn't a lot of information out on this case, but we do know enough to talk about it, and I do believe it's still very important to talk about a case whether we have a lot of information on it or not, because that's a way for you to actually keep the victim's name alive and bring more attention to their case. So if you want to know more about Taleah Lowe and what happened to her, then keep on watching. So Taleah Lowe was born to her mother, Corlita McCordy. When her mother was actually pregnant with her, she was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. Whew, yes, we starting out heavy, but she actually refused treatment because the treatment that was offered to her at the time could have possibly harmed the baby. So even though it was only a possibility, she still refused treatment because she didn't want to take a chance. Even if it was a small chance that the baby could have possibly been hurt, she did not want to take that chance. So she refused treatment. And unfortunately, because she refused the treatment, she ended up dying before Talia was 2 years old. Talia was actually raised by her grandmother, Shirley McCarty, and her grandmother actually did everything that she could to actually keep Talia's mother's name alive. She basically wanted to make sure that even though her mom was not here, that she still know exactly who her mother was and what an amazing person she was. So Talia actually graduated from South Haven High School in summer of last year, and she started Grand Valley State University in Allendale, Michigan last fall. Her grandmother said she was just the happiest that she's ever been. Like, she was just very, very excited for her new journey. And her grandmother also remembers saying to herself, like, oh my God, my little Talia is finally coming to her own, because she finally got to go away and start going to college. So her family described her to be smart, funny, loving. Like, I was looking through her social media and looking at her friends' social media, and literally everyone was saying how funny she was. Like, she just had such a funny, goofy personality, like just always very upbeat and happy. So on October 14th, Talia actually went to Lake Michigan with 2 of her classmates. She actually told her grandmother that Lake Michigan was actually on the bucket list for one of her friends, and they just wanted to visit. So her grandmother actually warned her about the lake, telling her that, you know, make sure you don't go anywhere near that lake. And Talia was like, you know, she's not gonna go into the lake. She actually reassured her grandmother that she's not gonna go near the lake. So just going back a little bit, Talia was actually born with a birth defect that causes paralysis in her left arm. So her left arm was paralyzed halfway, so she wasn't able to pick up her arm above her head, which would have prevented her from actually swimming. But she still loved going to the beach. She never got in the water. She just usually goes to the beach because she does love it. And where she grew up in South Haven is actually a beach town. So she grew up in the beach town. She grew up around water. She loved it, but she never went in the water because obviously she has the paralysis in her left arm, which always prevent her from actually swimming. So she never gone swimming, and she was actually afraid of the water, but she still loved the beach at the same time. She definitely reassured her grandmother that she wouldn't be going in the water, but her grandmother still went ahead to warn her because, you know, just being overprotective, even though her grandmother felt like she didn't really need the warning because she knows she's not gonna go, but she still just wanted to just, you know, just for reassurance, just to remind her, do not go in the water. So around 10 p.m. on October 14th, first responders received a call saying that swimmers were actually struggling in riptide in the water of Pere Marquette in Muskegon. So Muskegon Fire Department and rescue team actually went to the area. They brought in search and rescue team, helicopters and boats to search the area. So one of Talia's friend actually said that they decided to go swimming in the water, and she actually looked over and she saw that Talia and one of her other friends were struggling. So she got into the water and decided to help her other friend, and she thought that Talia was right behind her. So when she came back to shore, that's when she realized that Talia wasn't behind her. Around 1:30 a.m. Friday morning, they actually discovered the body of Talia in the water. An autopsy was conducted, and the GVSU Police Department ruled her death as an accidental drowning. So the only problem is her family is actually not buying that story. They don't believe that what happened to Taleah was an accident. They don't believe that she drowned by accident.
Leah knew about the tide, and I just don't think it's right. I just don't think Leah would go that far out in the water by herself, knowing about the tide. That
So here's a few things about Talia. So as I said before, she's actually very afraid of water. So she would have never gotten into the water. So the fact that she was in the water, her families, they were immediately shocked. They're like, no. She would never ever get in the water because she's afraid of water, and plus she has the disability that she's aware of. So that would have prevented her from actually going into the water.
we want people to know that Talia was a very bright, intelligent, smart, fun-loving, outgoing girl.
The family of 18-year-old Taleah Lowe grieving her loss. Her body was recovered from Lake Michigan last Friday morning.
We also want people to know that Talia could not swim. She had a disability, partial paralysis in, I can't remember, her left arm from birth.
Also, as I mentioned before, Talia grew up in a beach town, so she knows the safety. She knows water safety, and she just would never go into the most dangerous water possibly. So, just a little background on Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan is actually the most dangerous lake in America. It's actually named the deadliest lake in America because out of all the lakes, they have more deaths at that lake than anywhere else in the country. So the water in the fall and winter months actually gets really, really cold. So it's quite interesting that Talia would actually go swimming knowing that she does not know how to swim and she's afraid of water and decide to go swimming in the most dangerous place in America. Like, it's just not adding up. So the Great Lakes Search and Rescue Team actually started keeping track of all the deaths that happens in that lake because they noticed that so many deaths were happening at the lake. In 2020, they have seen more deaths at that lake than they've ever seen for whatever reason.
According to data from the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project, nearly half the people who drown in the Great Lakes every year drown in Lake Michigan, an average of about 38 people a year.
The Wisconsin-Illinois border, Northwest Indiana, Southwest Michigan is the most deadliest spot on the Great Lakes for drownings.
The area is densely populated, and the shore features uniquely dangerous conditions that people might not expect from a lake.
Folks come out of the city, want to put their mind on vacation, and they just don't realize the power of a 4 or 5 foot wave. Out on the ocean, you might have 6 foot waves, but they're spread apart. On Lake Michigan, they're pounding you, one right after the other, real close together.
And also, the girls that Talia was with, they actually created a GoFundMe. They created a GoFundMe to raise money for her memorial before they even found out that she was dead, which is crazy. Before her body was even found, they created this GoFundMe. So how does this make sense? So her friend Rachel, who created the GoFundMe, actually said that we witnessed Talia's death. So how could you have witnessed it? Like, even if she got caught up into riptides, let's say she did got caught up into riptides, you wouldn't know that she was dead. She could have just been drowned. And it doesn't mean that you're dead right away. She could have been unconscious underwater. Maybe the rescue could have come and gotten her and then revived her. So it doesn't mean that she was dead. But they literally went ahead and created the GoFundMe without the family's permission. Like, do you know how disrespectful that is? Like, that's just so crazy. Anyways, they did collected money and no one knows where that money went. But the family, they haven't seen any of that money since it was created. So Talia's cousin actually said that one of her friends were asking around for the passcode to her phone after her body was recovered. And they also packed up her things right away. So it's just like a lot of strange activities that are happening. And her family just really believe that something happened there, but authorities, they just really want to leave it as an accidental drowning. So one of the friends that she was with actually responded to someone on Instagram saying that, you know, they would never do anything to put her life in danger and they love her so much. Also, another one of her friend who started the GoFundMe, on her Instagram account, it actually only had a picture of Talia and then the GoFundMe in the bio. So she only has a picture of Talia as the icon, but she didn't put a picture or write any sweet messages to her or anything. She literally just changed her icon to Talia's picture and then put the GoFundMe link in the bio. And then after that, within about 24 hours later, she decided to take the pictures down and deleted all of her pictures from Instagram and make her page private. And I mean, if you have nothing to hide, why are you deleting all your pictures? Like, that's definitely very weird. And the fact that her friend that went out, whichever one of the friend this is, because we don't really know who did what, but since the friend that says that they witnessed both girls were in the lake struggling and she went out to go help one of them, it's just so crazy that she went out and she helped, even though I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation, and no one know what they would have done in that situation. However, I'm sure you know that Talia has a disability, so it's like, what kind of friend are you to not help the person that's disabled? If you're about to go swimming with friends, 9 times out of 10, we're gonna have a discussion. Do I know how to swim? Do I not know how to swim? So I'm sure they knew that she couldn't swim. So to me, it seems like it could be a case of hazing. One of Talia's friends actually posted that she wanted justice for Talia and she believed that Talia was murdered. Mind you, this is a friend that know all parties involved. So if this friend knows everyone involved and she felt like they murdered her, so why would police not take that into account? Why would they just think that, okay, this is just an accidental drowning? Like, okay, someone can drown, but what else happened? Like, what else led to her drowning? Like, the family needs answers. And that's the same thing happened with Jelani. Again, Jelani, it came out that his death was ruled as an accidental drowning, and it's like, okay, but what else happened? How did it happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like they're not giving the family all the answers that they needed. And I know this has nothing to do with the case, but usually I like to stick to the facts, but I just have a lot to say. So I don't know if anyone noticed, but in Jelani's case, they literally took almost 4 weeks basically to get the family answers, basically to confirm to the family that this was Jelani's body. And when they found Brian Laundrie's body, literally within 24 hours, and mind you, Brian Laundrie's body was apparently in a lake with tigers, cows, ducks, I don't know, all sort of wildlife. So his body, I'm sure, was in a way worse condition than Jelani's, because they found scraps, they found bones, and somehow it only took them less than 24 hours to be able to confirm that that was Brian Laundrie's body. While on the other hand, we have Jelani here, and Jelani's family waited over 4 weeks for them to be able to get answers. Like, this is just all just crazy. So I feel like police should actually look into this and give the family the respect that they need. And this also reminded me of another case. The young lady, her name was Taleah Lowe, where she actually went out with her friends. They had a sleepover. She was the only black girl there, the only black lady there, because they were grown women. Somehow Taleah ended up dead, and her death was ruled as an accidental falling as well. Like, how coincidental. All of this, it just looks very, very weird to me. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning, but I'm sure I should have. So her friends are white, by the way. Her friends are white, and she's like the only black friend. So this is why when her friend actually went out to go save them, as she said, she saw them drowning and she went to go save them, she chose her white friend as opposed to Talia, who actually has the disability. If that's the story, if that's even true. I don't know the conditions of the water when there's a riptide. I don't like water neither. I'm not getting into water, so I don't know. But how do you not know if somebody is behind you when you're swimming out of the water? Or I'm not sure, did you not hear her screaming? Like, did you, like, I just don't even understand. Like, none of it is making sense. I feel like this just hits different because this is her grandmother. Like, I just feel like grandparents, like, obviously they just love their grandchildren so much, like, just so freaking much. And her grandmother actually had to bury her mother. So her mother actually sacrificed her life for her. Now she have to bury her grandchild. It's just not right. Like, the least that police can do is just give her the answers that she needs so she can have some sort of closure, because I just know this is just so painful for her. Like, so painful. But yeah, that is all the information I have on this case. It's very, very little out there. I'll definitely keep you guys updated if something else comes out. But yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.